Hi,
Hey, how
Linda.
are you?
I am so wonderful. How about yourself?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you. I love
Thank
your
you
outfit,
so.
by the way.
Oh my! I'm like, okay, how do I show up professional but sexy? I'm just gonna wear bras under my
I
jacket.
love it. I love it. I wish I could do it every day.
I mean, nobody's stopping you.
Well, I am a nurse, so I think there's that.
Okay. So did you hear what Leanne said yesterday? She's like, wear your lingerie underneath your scrubs.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Right?
have to.
Where like nobody's gonna know about it, just you, and you're
Yeah,
gonna feel amazing. Do that.
I will try that.
All right, Linda. I want to hear your story about your transformation. I want to hear what was Linda before and what is Linda after. What what was the feelings? What was the life like? What was the experience and thoughts before you had that experience?
Yeah, so I'll kind of go a little bit into a backstory of the reasoning I wanted this is because I went through an abusive relationship recently, officially am divorced. Yes, I know. Um, I had another boudoir session with someone, and it's exactly what you said. It was, I told them what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and it was pretty pictures. There's nothing wrong with them. They were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't my vision. I wanted that vision of being pinned down, being in an abusive
Mm-hmm.
relationship, being chained up, not
Mm-hmm.
able to do what I wanted to do, and then the freeing aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna start tearing up,
Oh,
and I
please
mean,
do.
because
We love
yeah,
tears here. We love it. Love
I mean,
it.
because yeah, our session was just a couple weeks ago, so
Mm-hmm.
and the whole time completely nervous,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not my first time doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh gosh, here we go, and I all I could think of is I hope this vision comes out right because this is more for me.
Yes.
Um, and it did. It did. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, sitting back after seeing the pictures, it would be the littlest things of
Mm-hmm.
I'm not wearing shoes in this. It's
Mm-hmm.
very rough and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, is so empowering just to I can't even put it in words. It's just amazing to see what you can do with your art. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to tell that story,
Yeah.
and I want this, book for me, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
for anybody else. I don't mind people seeing the pictures, but it was more of a when a rough time comes around, I want to be able to open up this book and say, this is where you were at one point.
Yeah.
You were at your lowest,
Yeah.
and this is how you felt. And
Yeah.
if you got through that, you can get through anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I want to share my part of the story because I actually worked personally with you on every level.
yeah.
Usually, we have a person doing our consultations. We have a separate person doing photo sessions. I have very few clients that I actually work with. And after hearing that you already had a boudoir session with someone else, and this is your second time, I knew that this is a story, that there's something special about this. There's something deeper happening. And I wanted to give you exactly not even the experience. I knew that even before I first even met you at the consultation, I knew there was a healing experience that is about to happen, and I knew I needed to be present for this to facilitate that transformation for you. So I took over your consultation, and you have shared me you have shared your photos from your previous boudoir session, which you just received, but it was back in December or even like January. You
Hasn't even
just
been a year ago. Yeah.
Yes, you just went through that experience and you said, I can't, like, I'm seeing these pictures, but they don't represent what it is that I wanted to represent. They're pretty
Yes.
pictures. You have shared the photos. I respect that photographer myself. So I looked at the photos and I said, those are amazing photos. Why don't you love them? Like, this is something we would do too in a very similar way if we were to do some kind of a, lighthearted session with you, right?
Yeah.
And you said they don't represent what I went through. They don't represent the dark side to me and the darkness that I went through. And so the way we decided to approach your photo session specifically was we wanted to tap into that side that you went through and show the progress, show the story, show the transformation. Hey, this is the dark life that we've been through. We've been chained up. And my artistic mind is always thinking, how can we, like, you tell me your story and my mind is thinking, how can we translate that into using the props into our photo session? Like, I'm starting to, like, my brain starts spinning. And so we decided to incorporate some of the kink and BDSM elements into our photo session, not specifically for the kink aspect, but more specifically to represent the story of being chained up and not having a choice.
Yes.
And not having a choice. And from that moment, we wanted to tap into our after version of ourselves and show the powerful woman we have grown out of this.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And so this was so much more meaningful for you specifically to go through, because I already saw this was not just a photo session for you. This was a healing experience for you.
Yeah.
And I wanted for you to, like we all say, photo session is just a tool to facilitate your transformation. The way we see a photo session, right? It's a tool to facilitate your transformation and for you to walk away with a reminder of a woman you have uncovered in yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? And when you look at your album, when it comes, I'm sure it's only been just a couple of weeks, so we're still waiting on our album to come, right?
Yes.
But when it comes, I want for you to look through the album and go through the pages and by pages, seeing that, hey, this is the woman that I was, and this is the woman that I have become, right? Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think that you were able to really do that in the way that I wanted. I didn't know what it was that I wanted, really. Yeah. I just knew I needed that to be portrayed however it needed to be portrayed.
Yeah. And you trusted the process despite all the anxiety.
Yes. I think it's just always I don't think the hard part for me is getting in front of someone and doing it. I think the hard part is, as a plus size woman who's been abused and told she isn't pretty, to trust the end process, that the end is going to be what you want. Yeah. And that's where you're like, oh my gosh, 30 pictures. Am I going to be able to get 30 pictures? Am I going to be able to get 40 pictures that I even like? Oh yeah. Easily. Every time, easily.
And that's the case for the most part. We have some tough ones, but we always get the 30 for sure.
Yes. If I could tell anybody anything, get as many pictures as you can, because it's hard to nail them down. It is hard.
We warn people, your viewing process is like at least 2 hours long.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, when you go through the pictures, there's some that I'm like, I definitely need that one.
Yeah.
I think when we were going through mine, there was some that it just hit me. And I just remember crying, like, okay, this is it. This is exactly what I wanted. Yeah. And like I said, it was so simple. Just this one picture behind the chain link fence with no shoes on. And I don't know what the representation for me is with no shoes. I think it shows that I'm vulnerable. Yep. I was chained up. I was locked up. That's how I felt. And I think if I would have had the shoes on at that point, it would have represented or shown something different, but it was so raw. Yeah.
Even
there's a few pictures like that.
You told me not to use the blanket.
I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I know. I refused to use the blanket. Yeah.
I wanted for your knees to be comfortable. We had a pose where like we had you on your knees with the chains, and I was like, wait a second, that doesn't feel comfortable. I'm showing you the pose and like my knees are killing me. And I was like, wait, let's put in a blanket. And you said no blanket needed. Yeah. I want that to be painful to represent the experience I went through.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think even with the blanket, it would have shown something completely different.
Yes.
I don't know, because the set looks very back alley type of thing, and I just wanted to keep that the way it was.
Yeah.
So
Linda, I want for you to share something you shared with Sybil. What happened when you were driving back after a photo session?
Okay, so driving back, I was talking to my now boyfriend, and we were talking. My kids were at home. He had just left them. He had to take his son home, and he was like, "Oh, your oldest one's cooking dinner." I said, "Okay, she's not the greatest cook. She's, new at it. She's 16."
Yeah.
Um, well, he was like, "Hold on a second." I guess he was getting a call or whatever, and it hung up. Well, at the time, my daughter messages me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm driving almost an hour and a half away, hour away, and I'm like, I can't talk, so I just call her. And I literally get on the phone with her, and she is hysterical. And all I can think of is, oh gosh, she just burned down the house. um, no, that's not at all. It's her father, my ex, the abuser, is badgering her, harassing her, is doing all the things that he did to me, to our child. So enough, I get her calm down, get the situation. I finally had to tell her, like, you need to tell him to call me or message me. So he messages me, and again, I can't read the message, so I just call him, which I obviously was feeling great on the way, because normally I wouldn't even call.
Yeah.
I don't try to call him. He is very belittling. He is very, even with the divorce, it's like this. So I call him, and we literally have a conversation, and I take no shit from him at this point. So something at that moment, coming home after that, really did empower me to deal with him in a way that I could, to protect my kids. And it's like I said, I don't like conflict typically. Obviously I have to conflict with him, because if I allow it, he's going to walk all over me and do the things again. And what he's been doing to my kids, unfortunately, and I can't go into too much detail because we're going back to court for it, but the things that he's doing to my kids is exactly what he did to me. And I just can't continue to allow it. And so by finishing this process of our pictures, and it literally helped me heal, but also quickly reminded me, like, I'm fierce. I can do this. I can keep my head on and keep my chin up and fix my crown and take care of what I need to for my kids. And literally, he's yelling and screaming at me, and I'm just like, I'm not taking your shit at this point. We're no longer together, but you're not going to do this to my kids either. And I wouldn't have done that. That is not a typical Linda Linda deal. So this is very interesting, and actually we've had multiple conversations since then. And it's just going to be interesting that, and I think for me, I needed this. I needed this, because even though I've already had one session with someone else, it didn't empower me as much as this one did. I think the first one was good for me because I also just, have been beat down. He told me how ugly I am, how fat I am, and so, yes, I did need the first one too, because I needed to feel I am pretty. Someone is going to love me, and I have met someone great since then. But I needed this to close my chapter of this book. And to realize, hey, look at all this stuff he's done, and you're still going on with life, because it would have been so easy just to give up. So easy just to give up. But you can't do it when you have kids. I mean, you can, but when you're trying to put your kids first, you can't.
Yes. So here's the thing about the feminine. It is it's really hard to explain how multidimensional the feminine energy is. It is wild. It is fierce. Like, if you look into goddess archetypes, there is Aphrodite, but there is also Kali, and Kali is gonna eat you up alive. Kali's fierce. She doesn't take shit from anyone. Like, but it's still coming from that feminine place. It is still coming from that fire within. There's so many different archetypes of goddesses that, I call it love goddess, and you find your own, and whatever fits in a moment that you need. You can take from all of the goddesses that are out there. You take that energy and you embody that energy and you step into that energy. And that is still the feminine energy. And so,
Yeah.
what has been awakened in you when you were driving back is like, I'm going to be Kali. I'm standing up for myself. And it's like, not even about you anymore. It's about your kids. And when
Yeah.
it's about our kids, we are fierce.
Yeah.
We're going to kill for it, right?
Exactly.
Don't touch my kids.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
like warriors. Yes. Linda, I want for you to always remember that side of yourself and like get back to that energy that you felt, that empowered energy that you felt when you were driving back and stood up to him. Like, that is like when you go to court, that is the woman. Like, sit down, connect to her, go into the courtroom from that place, from the place of Kali. Like, I'm fighting for my life. Like, me and my kids deserve this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I don't, it's so funny because I am so, I don't want to say feminine. I'm more
Mhm.
masculine. I'm a nurse. I always got my hair in a ponytail as I do now, and bummed out, usually sweatpants and everything. And
Yep.
it's just since dealing with him after our shoot, it is completely different, as in, yeah, I can still be me, but yet I don't know, there's just a fire in me now that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
Before I would cower down, like, okay, I would tell my kids, well, he is your dad, well, no. Yeah, he is your dad, but he is not to treat you like this either.
No.
Nobody
Absolutely not.
deserves this.
And one other thing to remember, Linda, you are the role model for your daughter right now. If you gonna put yourself down and you're gonna submit to a man who's abusing you even after you have separated, she's gonna look at you, and God forbid she's going through a situation in her life, she's gonna mimic you.
Yep.
Unconsciously.
Oh yeah.
Like, that's how role modeling works. We take on the messages that we learn from life from early ages, and we project our own mother. I didn't even know I was being my father 2 years ago when I acted like very disconnected from my own family. I shared this story in one of the days of the workshop. And so what you're doing by standing up to him, you're showing your daughter to not tolerate this kind of treatment from anyone.
Yeah.
And just using like that as an example to stand up to him, so then she can fight for herself in her own life when things come.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we've had those talks before of, she asked me, what do I regret in life? And I always tell her, I really don't regret anything.
Mm-hmm.
Up until this divorce, I really didn't. Because I think you make everything a learning experience. I don't think you should regret it.
Yep.
Up until the divorce, when she finally asked me again not too long ago, she says, is there still nothing you regret in life? And I finally told her, yeah, I do. I regret staying with him for so long and allowing that to be seen in our house, and to make it seem like that is an okay thing, that it is okay for a man to treat you this way.
Mm-hmm.
Man, woman, whomever. And I kept trying to explain to her, it's not. I thought I was doing it for the betterment to stay with our kids. I went through a horrible divorce. I didn't want y'all to go through this. And in the end, she's made me realize so many learning opportunities during this, is that she's okay. I shouldn't have pretty much put my own happiness in place of hoping the kids were going to be happy, because they weren't happy anyways.
Yeah.
And the way she finally, at 16, I swear she's so smart. She always says, Mom, remember when we get in the planes and they always say, save yourself and then save everybody else? Yes. She was like, if you don't save yourself, you can't help us.
Yeah.
And she's right. Absolutely. 1,000% right. So if there's anybody out there that is in an abusive relationship, and mine wasn't 1,000% physical, emotional, the cheating,
Yeah.
and you're just taking it in for your kids, just
Yeah.
remember, like, you're hurting them more than you're probably doing them benefit.
Yeah.
And there's someone out there for you that is going to make you 1,000% happy, but you've got to
Yes.
work on yourself. I mean, I've been working on myself for 3 years.
Yeah.
This has been a
Yeah.
long process. It's not I was divorced last year, this has been going on for 3 years. So it's a lot of work. I've put all my kids in therapy. I put myself in therapy. Like, don't be ashamed. Go work on yourself and you be happy, because then after that, everybody else will be happy.
Yeah. I had one client came recently and she said, I was not receiving love until I learned to love myself.
Oh, yeah.
And when she did, she met the man of her life, and they came in for a couples Budora session and they killed it, and they're so in love. And I'm like, I want to work with these kind of clients every single day, because I come out recharged from that energy of love.
Yeah.
It is so life-giving. I was like, I want for this to be my like every day.
And it's
And
such a
that's
different feeling.
Mhm.
And I've told my kids all the time, like, I didn't realize how unhappy I was until I wasn't unhappy anymore. And
Mhm.
you just don't realize sometimes how miserable you can be. You're just going through your day-to-day things. And until you kind of step out of it and realize, oh my gosh, I was so unhappy for so long. Um,
Yeah.
so no, I completely can relate to, those comments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Linda, I am so blessed for, first of all, for you coming in, but second, like really diving deep without like fear, just being so raw and vulnerable with me and all the women who are listening. Because guess what? Women are in abusive relationship, and as much as it breaks my heart, more than women in happy relationship.
yeah.
that
Oh, absolutely.
that breaks my heart. I see it everywhere. I see it with other people, with people around me, with my team members. Like, I see it everywhere. And women are in abusive relationship, and they need to stand up to protect themselves and claim, you know what, I deserve better. Like, there's better life for me. There's better men for me. And like, I deserve to be respected. I deserve to be talked up, not down. Right? That's
Absolutely.
the only
Yep.
conversation I will accept. And that's like, it takes courage. It takes that fierce feeling. It takes Kali to come out and claim herself and her worth. That is where self worth comes into play. And we dive a lot into self worth when we go into confidence. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Linda, so much. I am so blessed to have you. I hope you have empowering rest of your day.
Oh, I will. I can't
Saturday.
wait. I can't wait to see you again and do another
Yes.
session.
Oh my God, come in for another session. And like, we're gonna be opening the dance studio. Like, your
Ooh.
goddess journey is going to continue. You're like just gonna blossom.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I will see you soon. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Linda. Thank
Y'all
you. Bye.
take care. Bye-bye.